Aloha everybody. I'm going to do a quick walk and talk and get you up to speed on what's going on around here. Kind of a channel update, life update. Now, we had a town hall meeting or a community meeting on Saturday with our representatives, and they discussed the future of Puna and Pahoa. Well, first, Pahoa town, the town that I grew up in, is dying. Businesses are at 50% business. You know, some of them have lost 50% of their business because of this natural disaster. And we have to get the tourist dollars into Pahoa. We have to get the tourists into Pahoa. That's the only way to save it. Any other tourism that comes out of Hilo, or people go to Hilo and spend their tourist dollars, it won't help lower Puna. It's how economics works. It won't help them directly or indirectly. So the businesses in Pahoa need to have the tourists there to spend their money. So we need a viewing area near Pahoa as soon as possible. And our Senator, Ruderman, he realizes that. You know, he says, you know, the tourist dollars spent in Hilo won't help Pahoa or lower Puna. And, you know, some people don't get that. And it's okay, you know, you just gotta learn and you gotta study economics. Wow, is this gonna be a boring video? I hope not. So, what I took away from that town hall meeting is a lot of the politicians, actually all the politicians, don't want anyone rebuilding in Lower Puna. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Wow. A lot of birds over there. That's beautiful. Huh. Okay, so yeah, they're not going to want people to rebuild on their lava-covered lots. So they don't really want people to build in Lava Zone 1 or rebuild in Lava Zone 1. They're probably just going to discourage it altogether. Lava Zone 1 is basically from Pahoa town east to the ocean. And it's the riskiest area to build in. And this event has reminded everybody. And the 2014 lava flow that threatened to cut off Pahoa from the rest of the world, people forgot about that. Now they're talking about a land swap with a lease, a 65-year lease, and it'd be very cheap. Well, if anyone's ever dealt with the government and their leasing of land, will realize that, you know, they could take it back after 10 years, they could take it back after 5 years, they could take it back after 20. So a lease isn't guaranteed. It's not even that good. I think the proposal is got a good heart, but it just doesn't, it's just not going to be executed properly. So we'll see what happens and what works. It's going to be really interesting. It's kind of an exciting time, sad at the same time, but exciting. I've never seen anything like this. I've gone through lava flows and mandatory evacuations, but I've never seen this amount of homes destroyed. I think we're almost at 700. That's what the county has counted, with unpermitted homes and some of the other factors in there. You know, we're probably looking at easily 1,000 structures that were occupied. I would easily say that, like, you know, but they always keep moving the goalpost. You know, now they're talking about, well, we're going to count it if you were taxed on it, which totally makes sense. That's the right thing to do. If you were paying taxes on your property and it was extra because you had a structure on it or a dwelling, and you paid the taxes for that dwelling, even though it wasn't permitted, you should be counted. Okay? That only makes sense. The government took your money for taxing you for a structure, then you should be counted. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know what. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I think, you know, I think eminent domain is probably the best bet. I think Leilani and a few of the surrounding subdivisions should be turned into a national park. Not all of Lava Zone 1, but at least this area of Leilani. Just because I just don't see the government allowing people to walk around down here, you know, in the no-go zone. Even if the lava stops, it's gonna be dangerous. There's big cracks in the ground. There's holes in the grounds everywhere. If you watch my videos, you notice there's, you know, glass dust everywhere, and, you know, a foot deep of rock that turns into glass dust. So I just don't think that's going to be livable for a long time. And I don't think the health department's going to allow people necessarily to go in there and live. The whole place would have to be bulldozed. Quite a few streets would have to be bulldozed because of the dying vegetation, and the trees are dead. And the trees are just falling over, and every day that goes by, there's just going to be more trees that fall over, and more SO2 and acid rain that kill the vegetation. So I just don't see a clear answer. You know, are they going to allow us to move back in there? And live. I don't see that. It's going to be difficult. They've already expressed that they don't want us to rebuild or have any new building in this area. So I hope everyone's prepared for that. Prepared for, you know, rejection of permits. But who knows? I do know one thing, that the district of Puna is going to be really poor, because all the houses that were paying the big property taxes are gone now. A lot of them. It's kind of interesting where the money was in Puna is where the lava went. You know, I'm a construction worker. I know how the world works. I would live in the poor neighborhoods and go work in the richer neighborhoods. That's just how life works, right? And so all the surrounding subdivisions are, let's say, poorer than Leilani or Pahoa, beach lots or vacation land. And so all that tax dollars are gone, and all that property tax has gone to zero, because if your property is covered by lava, you don't have to pay any taxes. It goes down to zero property tax. Your property is worth $0. And we are looking at the plume of Fissure 8. There it is, pretty bright this morning. Beautiful and eerie at the same time. So I think I've covered pretty much what I wanted to cover. Let's see if you can see my face. Want to see my face? I haven't had any coffee this morning. I just got up and walked out to the street. Probably can't even see me, it's kind of dark. But anywho, this is going to be very interesting, to say the least. I think we're going to have a lot of pissed off people, to be honest. A lot of people that are upset at what's going on, and FEMA seems to be doing pretty good. In the beginning, when people were getting rejected, everyone was mad at FEMA, and it turns out that they're actually going to help some people. Of course, it's never enough. You lost your $300,000 house. You didn't have insurance, you're never going to get $300,000 back. Even with insurance, you probably wouldn't get the full value of your house back. So, it's going to be kind of interesting. See what happens. Excuse me. Check out Pahoa and Malama Street. Old walk and talk. Hopefully I can use this footage and it's not too bumpy. I got my Sony camcorder with the stabilizer, action stabilizer, where it moves the lens, keeps it centered. But I don't know. See if I can use this footage. So Pahoa and Malama looks pretty good. Not nearly as much fog coming out of the cracks as I've seen before in the morning. It's pretty light. I don't really smell any SO2. The wind is still. I don't really see much wind, but it seems that the SO2 is just going straight up. The problem with the wind is when it's not blowing in the right direction, or it's variable. It's when we get a lot of SO2 and volcanic gases. No, not too bad. This is not too bad. So we're at Pahoa and Malama Street. Nothing has really changed. The cracks are pretty much the same. Yeah, nothing really changed. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap this video up right here. I want to thank you for comments. I want to thank you for the like. Thank you for the share. Please subscribe. Hit that bell symbol to get notifications. And until next time, ahoy ho!